This is Angelica,
Angelica.
and she has a purple color.
Purple puppy. Hi, baby. What'd you find? What'd you find?
She don't talk to me. I see. I found a toy.
A little more socially hesitant with this one, but she's still not particularly shy. Just
No. Her tail's up, and
Yeah.
she's like in there. She's just like, yeah, I'm interested, but I don't know you.
She's probably just gonna be more about the people she actually knows and less about total strangers, but she's still friendly. She still wants affection. She's still approaching. Hi. What are you doing?
She's, I think you've been giving cheese out.
You got cheese on your fingernails. I like cheese. I like cheese.
Maybe she just needed more time to
Yeah, she
figure out who you are.
I
Yeah.
picked her up. I figured I was picking her up a little early, but what I wanted to see was, did she try to get away? Did she just
Yeah.
freeze? And there was just a moment of tension, and then clearly she's decided, okay, never mind, let's be friends.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like when when I put her in there and she noticed you, she was like,
Yeah.
who is that and what are you about?
Yep. She just wants a second to form her opinion, and then she's coming right in for all the same loves that
Oh, yeah.
everybody is. Hi. Hi, 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 hi. Yes, yes, yes. And I will say, she's really she's checking me out. She's smelling everything about me, and she's thinking about it all. So this is a thoughtful puppy. And the mistake that people make with thoughtful puppies is thinking that they're fearful, and they're not necessarily fearful. They just need that time to figure out what they think about a situation, and she's one of those. So both her interaction with me personally, and I'm guessing like the environment in general, she was perfectly happy to engage with that toy. But even that, she took a few little experimental, she wants to know what it's about. She wants to know what's going on here. She's just gonna blindly charge into something. And those dogs are cool because they're smarter, and they have, and smarter, I mean they have a little bit more common sense with the way they conduct themselves in the world. They're less likely to just get themselves in trouble situations. They're more likely to think a situation through. But a lot of times that can feel challenging because we want, a lot of times if we understand the situation, we want them to just go with it. And they're not always up for that. And if we try to force them to just go with it, then you're gonna get more resistance from them, and sometimes fearfulness, where they need that chance to process. But if you just kind of watch them, give them that second, and then let them roll on their own speed, they'll be fine. So in terms of socializing, meeting new people, places, things, being introduced to new people, this is a puppy that I would give her that minute. Don't push her.
And I would interject while she's biting you that's the best piece of advice. It does not mean, I find that a lot of times people take it the wrong way, as in, oh well, can we get a puppy that's a little bit less
environmental, or less,
a little bit more people oriented of this.
Yeah,
and it's these guys, from my experience, when there's a puppy that needs a little bit of, when they need the blueprint and you provide them the blueprint, those are the best puppies.
Yeah. That's why I said they're smarter.
Yeah, they're the best. They're the last one we did that stayed with me a little longer. He was super chill, and now he can go anywhere and do anything. And
it's not a problem. And we, this is what we were just talking about before we put the puppy down. As a culture, we've come to expect dogs to be sort of just push button and not have needs, and that's not really realistic. They are still a thinking, sentient creature, and just like people have different personalities, so do dogs. And your personality that maybe is not the star of the football team doesn't make them less of a desirable person to be around. In a lot of respects, sometimes they're a better person or they're more competent at this job or that job or whatever. It's just a different personality. And it's the same way with these guys. That's why I initially said these puppies are smarter. They have more common sense. They understand the world better in the long run because they've thought it through, and they're able to make better judgments. So they're more reliable, they're more consistent in the long run. But in the front run, they have to learn because they're thinking enough to learn. Whereas your balls to the wall puppy, they're not paying attention to anything. So you can have this puppy and you can have the other puppy. They can both go through 5 different socialization experiences, say. The puppy that's the balls to the walls kind of puppy, they've gone through them, but they've been glazed over the whole time. So their learning is like 20%. They picked up a couple details because they were, woohoo, this is fun, and they weren't paying attention. This puppy has learned every time. So by the time they've gone through 5 experiences, they are masters at whatever that was, and they thoroughly understand it because they were paying attention the whole time. They were thinking it through the whole time. They were learning the whole time. They weren't just in that mode of woohoo. So it's not a disadvantage. It's just different, but it's poodly. That poodles tend that way. That's the breed too. They're more like that, and so that's why people who are really into poodles tend to like poodles, because I like that characteristic. I would hands down prefer to have that characteristic in a dog. It's a good thing. It's just different from what we in a country that, the most popular dogs are labs that tend to not be that way. It's different from what we kind of default expect. You're so cute.
Yeah, it's just information, not a fault of a puppy. It's a benefit to the puppy.
Right.
Because they're letting you know ahead of time that they need that, and you gotta roll with it. And
yeah, I mean, you can look at this puppy and see she's not a hesitant puppy.
Yeah.
She needed to. I mean, if you're thrown into a new environment that you know nothing about, somebody just comes and gets you and picks you up and teleports you into a shopping mall and you've never been in one before in your life and didn't tell you that's where you were going, most humans are going to go, whoa, wait a second. And they're going to need to get their bearings for just a second. Most humans aren't going to be like, woohoo, let's go check it all out right away. So it's not something that we expect from ourselves, but for some reason we tend to expect it from our dogs. So yeah, again, just reiterating, it's not a problem.
And also social situations when, kind of that same thing, when we expect our puppies to be thrown in that situation of a shopping mall.
Yeah.
And then also dealing with the environment, and then also expect them to be happy and friendly and visit every single person that approaches them.
Right.
And I know, like, we don't think about those things with us humans. Like, at least myself, my own experience, like, when I'm in a new place, I am not ready to just hug every single person that comes up to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, throw me in a shopping mall, even though I'm very experienced with shopping malls, being, a modern American human, I fully understand.
You'll still be looking at the map and trying to figure out which store to go.
Exactly.
While a friendly stranger comes and tells you your hair is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
it's
okay.
Just me about nothing. I'm kind of like, I don't want to talk to you right now. And that's just my personality. I have friends who are not like that, who are just like, oh, but that person was so nice. Different personalities. Doesn't mean either one of us is less equipped to deal with shopping malls. Just our strategy is going to be a little different.
Or being friendly with other people.
Right.
Just,
Just varying levels of friendliness.
Let me look around and then we can have a conversation.
Right. Or if I'm trying to make a decision between 2 items that I'm thinking about purchasing, that's probably not the moment I want to have random small talk with a completely foreign stranger.
I think that's a good example that I was going for. Like, your mind is preoccupied with something else, and
I don't necessarily want to be interrupted in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm just waiting in line to check out and nothing is going on and I've been standing there for 5 minutes because it's a long line and I'm bored, I'm way more likely to happily engage in small talk with the exact same person and actually enjoy it. And then think about later, oh, that was a really nice lady I met at the mall versus that was a really annoying lady I met at the mall. It's just different ways of processing the experience.
But she's also pretty wide open.
Yeah, she's got plenty of energy here. She just You can see the difference now versus when she was first set down. Now she's familiar. She's got it. She has oriented. Now she's like, now I'll do all the things.
Yeah, like her movement is loose and...
Yeah. She was in the box. She was chasing the shreds. She's bringing me this toy every time I stop playing with her. She's like, hey, can we do that thing? Crawling over all the things.
But I think she's a little bit more deliberate in her movement than her sister was.
She's paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, like the food exercise, she's probably going to be pretty good at because she's probably going to figure it out. Plus, she also was willing to take that toy away and go self-entertain and do a good job with that. I can't think of
She's really, because she's getting it under your hand there.
Like I said, this is, and she figured out where the opening was in 0.3 seconds.
Oh my god, she gets jitters.
Yeah, she's already got this. Like, she's also already got that strategy. Did I take it away from you? Alright, here you go. That's classic again to her. Hey, it's right here. I gave it back to you. She figured out very quickly that it wasn't going to work. And she didn't waste time continuing to try. So she's low in persistence. Although sometimes the second time we see more persistence. Still, she's coming to me to ask me to help her with it. She's not really forcefully continuing to try. She's like, well, dang it. Yeah, and she comes back and asks for help again. So she's smart. I mean, she figured out this whole thing, the whole setup, like, really fast. And she's just not gonna, she made it an intelligent decision. She's not gonna waste brain power on doing something that she's already assessed is futile. Accurately, because the lid was on. She didn't really have a way to get it off. So you've got a puppy who's really common sense, grounded. She's not going to do dumb stuff. But she also wasn't super persistent with that, and that would suggest that she's going to be an easier to live with puppy in the sense that if she decides she's going to get into something, she's not going to be too awfully dedicated to that goal.
She's a good companion puppy.
Yeah, great companion puppy. She heard me rattle the thing, the lid, and she's already back over here. This one's not good, though. This one's something different. What do you think about this one? She says, well, it's really interesting. But it's not food.
You know, that sound associated with cheese. Where's cheese?
Again, just really smart. She's curious, but not overly
not interested in that.
Yeah, it's just not a priority. She's like, this is just registering. It's new, it's different.
Yes.
Yeah. Meh, I'm way more interested in the cheese. I think you should give me the cheese. Yeah, she's a nice little puppy. What about that? What about that? What was that? So the thing I want to point out there, again, it's not a lack of confidence. She's perfectly confident. But her initial response was to look to me and see what I had to say about it. So this is a puppy that right there tells you this is a puppy that would really benefit from labeling, which is just when we tell them what it is that made the noise. And the example that I've given several times today already is, you know, if you have like heavy equipment, for my dogs, all heavy equipment is called a tractor. It doesn't matter if it's a bulldozer or an excavator or a little tractor, it's all just a tractor. So when they see one, I tell them that's a tractor. And they categorically then understand that everything associated with that, the smell of the diesel fuel, the noise, the general look of it, those are all tractors. So if, you know, there's a tractor working and it startles them, I can say, oh, that's just a tractor, and they're fine with it. So same thing, like you have the noise, you can tell her, oh, that's just whatever it happened to be. And she's gonna learn to understand that. But the way that she was looking at me and that immediate eye contact and direct engagement tells me she wants that information from me. So she's gonna respond really, plus she's very smart. So she's probably also especially given that she's a poodle and they tend to be very verbal. She's really going to benefit from having somebody who talks to her and tells her what's going on.
I think I got just from like an owner perspective, maybe the owner is, it helps you self to get centered when you label things.
Yeah.
Because in that kind of situation, kind of like with babies and toddlers, when she's looking at for the feedback, you could, like if you act scared, like if something spooked her and she looked at you and you kind of feed into it, oh my gosh, you okay?
Yeah.
You're just fine. That kind of will tell her, okay, this is something to be worried about.
Right.
Versus, not a big deal, it's just a truck, come here, we're good.
Yep.
In my house, it's a truck, and usually it's a friend.
Yeah.
All
truck
people
and friend.
Yeah, truck and friend. Just a loud truck and a friend.
We use a lot of, we use trucks for automobiles, tractors for tractors, and we use a lot of friend, and we use a lot of people working. And working means they're probably like got a chainsaw or something. Tool.
Yeah, right now with the hurricane.
We're in Hurricane Central, so we've really had to like, people working's pretty common. But I was telling Alexa earlier, because we label so much and we use those words, we had some work done on our well. We live on a hill. The front of our house butts into this very steep hill, and the windows are coming out looking onto the hill. And we had an excavator digging up our well yesterday, I guess it was, or the day before yesterday. And that would freak most dogs out. There's an excavator and strange men working with shovels and jackhammers and stuff in your front yard. But for our dogs, we just told them, yep, that's a tractor and that's some people working. And they were like, oh, whatever, okay.
Yeah.
And went on with life. So labeling can be really, really powerful. And she's one that I think would particularly respond well to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do the visual now. And I'll point out when I do this test, she's, again, smart. What I was going to say is when I do this test, I stop most puppies because most puppies see the rattle of the umbrella and want to charge up to it, but I don't want them to overwhelm themselves when I open it because I know that's what's going to happen. So I'll stop them from running up. But she ran around to this side and then she came to me. That's already a more intelligent response than you would expect most puppies to have. So she's here, she's ready. Now we're going to do a thing. And now she's going to be fine with it. That was her regulating herself in exactly the way that I would regulate most puppies for them. She's not afraid of the thing. That was an intelligent response to the thing. Yeah. So you're not going to have to regulate her for her as she grows up. And that's why Lex and I both like this kind of dog. She's going to do it for herself.
I love that puppy right there.
I know, she's so sweet.
And she's cuddly, and she let you put her on her back.
I mean, she put herself like this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, if somebody has kids, probably, obviously lots of adult supervision.
Yep.
But this one would be a better, Angelica would be a better choice then.
Especially young kids, because she'll learn when to avoid them, when to just, toddlers getting around and she doesn't want them squishing her or whatever. She'll learn to get out of their way or go sleep somewhere else.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to tell her. I mean, you obviously always want to help a dog with that sort of thing, but you'll have to help her a whole lot less than you would other dogs. She'll just self-regulate really nicely and figure out how to work a situation really nicely, and I think she's going to be really easy. So she's great. I think she's going to be a super fun, easy dog. My only thing would be give her that minute that she needs to process things. Don't throw her and force her and push her, because then you're going to get learned fearful responses. Whereas if you just let her natural intelligence and confidence carry over and you just provide a consistent, safe, calm backup to her, she'll be fine. Yeah. I think other than that, you'd be hard pressed to mess her up. She's great. She's pretty bomb proof. And she's sweet, affectionate, sweet.